Hello, Gary Champion, psychic medium once again. Um, I had to go to Home Depot to get some bulbs for bathrooms. We have walk-in closets with bathrooms attached to them, and the bulbs are at the age that they're starting to go one at a time. And so I thought I would replace them all at once. That way I wouldn't have to go digging for. And you pretty much have to put the same bulb in all of these strips. It's like on strips with the big lights on it. And I've moved to LED lights because they're like twice as bright and they use less power. Anyway, long story short, or a short story that I made longer. Uh, I went to Home Depot, walked in, went to the lighting section, which is just right inside the door, and they had it blocked off because we were moving. It looked to me like grills, those big gas grills that you have outside to cook on. I think that's what it was. But you could hear a forklift, deep, 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 and everything has those yellow uh, gate. Really, you can't get in there. And she said, I'll call the lighting specialist. And I said, you got a lighting specialist? What did I know? Because these numbers on this thing were so hard to read. Ooh, I think there was an orb there. Even with glasses, they're hard to read. And a guy came over. I had to wait. He had to unlock that side over there, and then the forklift had to leave, and then they had to undo this because can't have people where they're working with machinery. It's too dangerous. So he comes over, big smiling guy, and I said, I need a bunch of these bulbs. I think I just said a bunch. And he found the SKU number on it, which is really tiny, and he couldn't read it. And I put my glasses on, and I could read it. I could give him the numbers. He pulled out his phone. He's not a lighting expert, first of all. Otherwise, he wouldn't pull out his phone to look up where the light is, that bulb is. But he knew. He had his little phone programmed, and he put the SQ in. It says it's on aisle A, shelf A, blah, blah, blah. And it was right there. But we didn't know that. I never found it. And yes, he handed me a couple of boxes. I think he must have touched me. Not in an emotional way. He touched me physically. And see, I've had all afternoon to think about this. I didn't realize what was going on at the time. I hardly ever do. And as he handed me these boxes, there were several because it's like hot dogs. They'll give you so many buns and not enough weenies, or you got too many weenies and not enough buns. It's that kind of thing. So some of these carry an odd number, five or four, or they never carry four. They carry 5 or 7 or something like that. So you have to buy an extra box. Anyway, he hands me this pile of boxes, and he was waiting for me to say something. It looked to me like, and I said, "You need to have a biopsy in your lung." People keep telling me that's a bad thing to do, but it always seems to help people. That I shouldn't expose myself that way. That I shouldn't maybe say something really, really wrong and make a bad enemy. And I'm aware of those things, that I can get in trouble real quick. Doesn't seem to stop me though. And my guys must have known this guy would be all right with it, because they said you need to have a biopsy done in your lung. And he looked at me and he said, and he sort of smiled and he says, I know exactly what you're talking about. I said, I'm glad you do. And he went on, I didn't ask him, but he went on to tell me that he had blood clots in his lungs. So I get out of there as quick as I can before it goes worse. And some other words were said that I could see that I was in the wrong company. But he took it well. I was surprised. Anyway, I got my car, went home, and went about my day. And at some point, we're eating lunch, and I realized that it's not a blood clot; that it's a it's a tumor. You don't biopsy blood clots. It's the best I can come up with. The blood clots are not biopsied because you can see their blood. And then someone said it's a tumor and it's benign. And assuming that everything is right, that I'm just not off on a crazy drug fueled trip, uh, I shouldn't have to say anything to him because it's benign. And he says they're watching the blood clots. He says they are watching them. The doctor and the hospital's watching them. So I thought, okay, well, I'm out of here. He didn't need me any further. And then I get home, and it's like an hour later, a couple hours later, maybe even longer. I don't know, 12 or 1 o'clock. And then I realized that it was a tumor, that it wasn't a blood clot. And I'm trying to figure this out. I'm thinking maybe a blood clot looks like a tumor. Could. I mean, I don't know anything about these things. A blood that's clotted up doesn't look like free flowing blood. I mean, I would think it'd look different. Anyway, I'm speculating round and round. Do I go back to Home Depot and hope this guy's there again? I don't know his name. It's a big place. Or do I just say, because as it's coming out that they're saying it's a tumor thing, my brain rushed way ahead and said, I'll have to go tell him. This is going to be, I think I know that he's not the kind of guy that would want to listen to this stuff. But then shortly after thinking, I've got to go, and it's a nanosecond, you have that thought, then I'll have to go tell him. Then I hear benign, which sort of, so why did it come up in the first place? Why was I in Home Depot? Why was I reading this guy about something? Um, why were things going down the way they were? My guess is probably it's because they're looking at the blood clots but do not realize there's a tumor there. And once they do, they'll biopsy it, even though it's benign, and figure out it's not something. But it might be something that might have to be removed, or it might have to be something that can be left alone. But that's the doctor's thing. There, Bunny just went past. You see her? Ooh, she's elusive. I told him probably because it was the best thing for him. See, I don't know. I don't know the best thing for him. I don't know him. I don't know why I'm talking to him. That's the way it always starts. Some stranger standing there, and I'm going to start telling him something, and I can't stop myself. So, anyway, I just assumed that he needed to know it. Otherwise, my guys would not have given it to me to give to him. And he'll probably tell his doctor, some wacko guy said I had something, I need to biopsy in my chest. And maybe he'll look a little further. And maybe whatever it is, he'll discover it's benign, but he'd be glad to know that it's benign. That's just too complicated, isn't it? It happens very quickly in the realm of the metaphysical, especially in the communicating with the other side. It's very quick and fully spelled out. You know, and knowing is one thing. If you're walking along and you know that your car needs whatever new tires, and that just happened when it's time to put on new tires, that's kind of a universal knowing. You just know. When you hear voices, it's not the same. A knowing is a possible, although I've never had a knowing be wrong. You hear the words, you know it's absolutely, positively, for sure, exactly right. And why I'm saying it is for a reason, for his health. And even though I don't know it, I feel that it'll work out. That he'll say that, and that'll trigger them looking closer, and they'll find the tumor and decide that it's benign, but they need to watch it just in case it goes bad. Now they got two things to watch: blood clots and a tumor. Yeah, but if they're watching him, his chances of survival are really good. See what I mean? If that tumor goes bad, then they'll see it, they'll read it, and pull it out or do whatever they do to things like that to where it's not a death sentence of any kind. And it's just this, I don't know why I'm telling you this story, except it's in the day in the life of a medium is a lot of this stuff. It's a lot of this stuff. One thing right after the other. And sometimes it's a big deal. Sometimes you make a difference. And from my standpoint, that's the only reason there is to be a medium, is to make a difference. If you got a big ego, it's not what this is about. It's about helping people with whatever skill you've got in the best manner you can. And I'm going to tack on here, even if they don't appreciate it at the time, because I've had some not good experience with that, and I've probably done videos about them, but you can't let that dissuade you from. The right thing is always to err on the side of the whoever you're reading. You can't worry about peripheral grandmother and grandfather and kids, and you can't even think about it because it's not relevant. What's relevant is that he'll go to his doctor the next time he goes and probably say something about, I said that he had something kind of benign thing in his chest, and then that'll trigger them to look a little closer and they'll see something. That's my best hope. Unless I go back to Home Depot. So I'm going to leave this one up in the air. Probably let Bunny decide. She hates that. Okay. Just a little video. I like to do these things every now and then because what's going on up here in me is not what's going up there with you, except a lot of you are very sensitive and very intuitive and very psychic. So you have the same issues. This is just a little video showing that we're kind of in the same boat. Most people hear things once, twice in their life, and they see a lot of things their mind blocks out. But if you get something for someone, don't be afraid to give it. That's the moral of the story, because you don't know when you're going to make a difference. And I've talked to lots and lots of you out there where you did the same thing. You said something and it made a big difference. So it's easy to give up and not try, but that little bit of extra might save a life. And he's probably my age, so he doesn't have a huge amount of time to live, but I don't know. He might have 20 years to live. If I didn't report it, he could be gone by Christmas. So anyway, I say if I have to go to Home Depot again soon, I'll probably hunt him down, because I feel like I owe him something, and I have no reason why I would feel like that a stranger I would owe him something, except that I heard it, which makes me guilty of doing the wrong thing if I don't do the right thing. Why they gave it to me, I have no idea. There's a guy standing right next to me. They could have told him. He could have said it. Anyway, people who were listening got real interested. Then I left. So that's the end of this strange little video. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.